Hey, it's Popeye from FederalJack.com. Don't miss my show, Down the Rabbit Hole, Wednesday and Friday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, on the Orion Talk Radio Network. Welcome back, guys. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. Thought I'd bring this up really quick, and I'm not touching on it because of the person per se. I'm going to bring this up just because I've had this conversation with other people off air, and they agree with me, and I won't name names and out anybody. I'll just, put myself out. That way you guys don't have to worry about yourself. But I find it very telling how people were unwilling to touch the whole Charlie Veach thing. And I find it even more telling. The silence throughout the community is deafening. And I find it very telling. Most of the 98% of the feedback I've gotten has been thanking me for at least touching on it. And I only wrote 2 quick articles about it. I don't plan on going into it anymore. But I just find it very telling how most people appreciate the fact that there is some coverage because nobody really is talking about it. Certain websites have had it up on their website for a day and then ripped it down. And I don't know if they realize that once a link is out there, a link is a link and it's floating around cyberspace. Other things pick up that link and you can still click on it and it will go to 404 not found, and that just tells people that you deleted it. So it's just, I find it very the silence is deafening. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, in the chat room during the break, I've been loving the conversation that's going on. It's been really in depth, and it's about waking people up versus kind of like where are we at? Pete, is it happening fast enough? Do we have enough time? I agree with some of the points of view in there, and I have to say that I do find myself being repetitive when it comes to certain things with certain people. But you know what? I'll use my father, for instance. He was 8 months ago, he was more glued to Glenn Beck. He liked Beck. He liked what his message was. My father had accepted some things, but he was still kind of, now he knows Glenn Beck is a scumbag. And he figured that out, probably about 6 months ago. I was able to get him to wake up on the whole Glenn Beck factor. But he doesn't like Bill O'Reilly, and he's really starting to get turned off. Now, he hates all the other news channels. He's one of the people that only likes Fox, and he's even getting pissed with them. He's not really going to Fox as much as anymore. He goes to alternative websites. And my father's 69 years old. So if I can eventually take him, a World War II vet who's extremely set in his ways and fought with me about 9/11 being an inside job, to the point where he says to me now he believes that 9/11 was an inside job, that's a big step. So it is a pain in the butt, and I know what you guys mean. Believe me, family members are the worst to try to wake up. I still have family members that I don't even bother to try because it would be an epic battle that it'll never be won, because they would dig their heels in and fight it, and they would just dig in. And I know one person, and I won't name who he is, but geez, anytime I try to give them information, it's like they got to be contrary to everything I have to say. I could say the sky is blue, and they'll be like, no, there's polka dots in the sky, just to be contrary. And I don't know if, to me, that's getting caught up in the personal level. If you have a personal vendetta against me from something when we were kids or whatever the case may be, if you don't like me on for some other reason, and then I try to give you information, we're very judgmental with how we allow information to come into our heads and how we pick it up and how we perceive things. It's very interesting. And I find myself doing it. Look, I am not perfect. I never will say to any of you guys that I am, perfect in any sense of the word. I make plenty of human mistakes. It's just I have a tendency to ponder on my mistakes and try to learn from them. something I've always done. I didn't want to be that guy. You know, when I was younger, still to this day, I live by the motto of don't be that guy, which is, you know, don't be that guy. You don't want to be that guy that does, you know, fill in the blank. It's as simple as that. Very important. Very easy way to look at things. You know, you're about to open your mouth and say something stupid. Don't be that guy. You know, you could put it to every aspect in your life: dating, work. You know, if you have if you have a so-called radio show and you do a blog talk radio show or you do talk show, don't be that guy that eats food while you're interviewing your guests. You know, and makes lots of noise. People people know what I'm talking about if they listen to a certain person on talk show. I'm not going to give them any airplay, but don't eat food. You know, don't be that guy that eats food while you're interviewing people on the microphone and you hear all sorts of noise in the background. Don't be that guy. Don't be the guy that all you do is run around trying to cause problems wherever you go. You know, you see your friend and his girlfriend having a problem. Don't be that guy. You know, be a better person. It's as simple as that. Don't, you know, Mark Passio and I had this conversation multiple times. Fall in love with the word no. Okay? Try to change yourself. Try to make a difference in yourself first, and that will make a difference in the rest of your world. You can't try to run around and stop the New World Order and everything else and be hectic inside your own person, because eventually the two things are going to conflict and it's going to come to a head, and you're going to realize that you now have to take care of yourself because it's at this critical level. And then you could end up having this anger towards the truth movement. You know, you'll blame that, or you'll whatever. You have to it all starts, you know, inside with you. It's like having a house. You can't build a really awesome house if you have a crappy basement. If your basement has cracks in it and it's not solid, your house is going to fall down. So you can't have a solid, you know, you can't expect to wake people up and sound credible to certain people either if you yourself are chaotic, because people may know that you're chaotic and they're going to use that to judge the information. You know, if I'm having my life is all frantic and I can't pay my bills and I, you know, not because I'm out of work, but just because I'm one of these people, you know, someone that's always got, it just seems like something's always going on. And then I go to people and I try to say, oh my God, the New World Order, they're poisoning the food. People are going to look at you and be like, oh, they're just nuts. They're just crazy. They're going to turn you off. They're going to tune you out. So the key, I find, one of the best things, and I tell this to people a lot, there's two factors. One, you got to be sure of yourself, confident. You have to be, you know, you have to get yourself situated first. And then the second thing to dealing with people, at least for me, I find everybody has an in. It might not be the Federal Reserve. It might not be the New World Order. Maybe it's the economy. Maybe the guy lost his job 6 months ago. Now he's starting to realize that he's getting screwed. Maybe it was the bailout. That woke a lot of people up. Maybe somebody saw a video, their kid showed them a video, and they're saying, well, I've never really looked at 9/11. And they sit down. There's different ways to approach people. Don't be so shy to approach people in a different fashion. Talk to them. You know, I'm a people person. I could make friends with a rock. But I know some people aren't like that. I know some people are closed off. Don't be like that. They want you to be closed off. It makes it easier for you to be controlled because you're not connected to anybody else. Open up. Sit down and have a random conversation with somebody. I do it all the time. I carry DVDs wherever I go, and I start random conversations with people. If I go to the store, the person at the checkout, people in line. There's easy ways to make conversation with people. And then you can, even if you bring up Lindsay Lohan or something stupid, and you can segue into the economy or something, you learn how to read people. That's a big thing of approaching people. You got to learn how to read people, because if someone's not in the right frame of mind, you're going to try to come up with the information, and they're going to butt heads with you. You're going to argue, and instead of accepting the information, they now build this negative thing, you know, this negative thought in their head towards that information. So no matter what, even if the information is 100% correct, they're going to have a negative thought for it and not going to even want to listen to it and be receptive to it because they're attaching a personal negative emotion to it. Yes, it's a very complex thing, but aren't we all? Aren't humans complex? You think life is that simple? It's not. So you got to look at things and understand things. Take the time. Don't just take things at face value. You know, try to pick your time when you come at somebody and you talk to them about this stuff. Don't bombard them with too much. Don't come at them with 15 DVDs and go, oh, my God, the New World Order, and throw it at them. You know what I mean? You got to come at them with, like, give them maybe 1 or 2 movies or 3 movies. I find, like, to people that are not awake, the best thing is 3 flicks is the maximum number. So try to get 3 of the best movies that you think that are good to wake people up and hand them out. Ponder that while we're at break. We'll be right back. Check out FederalJack.com and check out OrionTalkRadio.com. We'll be right back.
The reasons for the cover-up, the reasons for the censorship. Now I realize that Uncle Sam was not befriending me. He was only using me to be friends with the enemy. A presidential terrorist, ain't that a contradiction? I guess it goes to show the truth is stranger than fiction. But they don't even show the truth when soldiers are missing. I'm only trying to show